today I'll be sharing with you how I personally like to reflect at the end of the year. This reflection helps me figure out what habits, goals, and accomplishments I've had this year, and also how I can make the next year better. I realize when I don't reflect on the past, I've made the same mistakes and have sometimes gotten stuck in somewhat of a negative cycle or pattern loop. This video is all going to be a one-take video. It is only going to be my voice, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. So for this reflection, I get out my physical calendar, journal, and something to write with. If you want to do this reflection and don't use a physical calendar, you can go ahead and open your virtual calendar, and this could be maybe your Google Calendar or your Outlook. And I've done this reflection with someone close to me, and they don't use calendars at all. And just want to ask, who doesn't use calendars? Not even keeping up with doctor appointments? Do you know anyone like that? Maybe gift them a calendar this year. I sure gifted that person a few. And guess what? They started using calendars, but it's mainly for work purposes, but at least it's the start. So back to what I was talking about. So I told them to open the photos. So they didn't have any calendars, right? So I told them to open the photos in their phone, and mainly because pictures are documentations of events and have timestamps. And maybe you have all three. You have your physical calendar, your virtual calendar, and want to open your photo album on your phone. That's fine. Go for it. Do whatever works best for you. So after I got my calendar, my journal, and pen ready, I write down January 2023 in my journal on the top, and I flip to January in my calendar. I review that month, and in the journal, under the month's name, I create bullet points and start writing any habits, patterns, or even events like birthdays, parties, conferences I attended, or any other, again, patterns. Basically, anything that happened during that month that created change, this could be either positive or negative, I write it all out. The good and somewhat maybe not so good. If I got sick, if there was a fight, if I worked out consistently, if I traveled. This is my personal reflection. I'm trying to learn about what actually happened so I can not only reflect, but grow. An example of some bullet points from last January are that I worked out 3 times a week, I completed a winter course, and there were a few snow days. So that's some examples. And so I repeat this process for each month. I write down as much as I can, and I really take my time with this reflection. But then there are some months where there's nothing, there's not much going on, and I only have 3 or 4 bullet points, and that's okay. And then there are some months where there are more than 8 bullet points. I just completed this reflection for this year, and summer was a pretty good productive month. Then there were more than 7 bullet points in one month, and then fall month started to kind of slow down for me. The pattern I noticed was that I did not plan to go to places or hang out with anyone in the fall, and the sun was also setting setting really early. I think the sun sets here around 4:50-ish, and it's probably going to be setting even earlier. And so I didn't have many experiences to document, and looking back, I know for sure I need to do more in the fall next year. Later, I'll be discussing how to plan for experiences in advance using sticky notes, so stay tuned for that. After I completed the yearly reflection, I reflect on things that I noticed that were a pattern, both good and not so good. And then I journal what I could have done better. So for an example, 2 years ago, when I stopped working out in March, that caused an effect in both my mental and physical health. So having a goal of consistently weightlifting 2 times a week minimum is what I chose. This reflection basically helps me figure out where most of my time goes, who I spent it with, and what I did, whether it was at work, with certain people, and how I spent the weekends and nights, especially if you're working. And at times, it has helped me figure out what I was lacking. This year, August was a really good month. I was spending time with family, checking off my yearly bucket list, and it was just a fun month. It made me realize I want to have more months like that, and I wrote down exactly how I can achieve more months like that. These last few months, I missed doing new experiences, going out, and just being with good company. If you choose to do this reflection, write as much as you want and figure out what's been really going on. This reflection is only for you, and it will only benefit you. The next thing I want to talk about is my sticky note method. I want to share how I use sticky notes to plan for experiences in advance. So there are 2 things I want to discuss. The first thing I want to discuss is that I have a yearly bucket list. I learned about this on social media during like COVID, when everyone was at home and then things started to open back up. People started realizing how precious life was and really wanted to like get back to doing normal things. I have this quote, and I repeat to myself: tomorrow is not promised and neither is the next moment. With that said, according to dictionary.com, a bucket list is defined as a number of experiences or achievements that a person hopes or to have or accomplish during their lifetime. So my bucket list does have some bucket list items like ride a Ferris wheel at night or ziplining, because I have not done these things before. Yeah, I know, ziplining has been on my list for years. Anyways, but this list also has other things like I want to experience just like things I want to experience this year, like going to the beach in the summer, 4th of July fall fireworks, fall photos. So things that I like are happening every year, but I don't want to forget to do. And I basically write all this on a separate sheet of paper, keep it where I can review it easily. I started doing this 2 or 3 years ago, and I really like using this method, so I keep doing it. The second thing I want to share was the sticky note method, like the actual sticky note method. So after I finished marking my new calendar, so every year, by the end of the year, like December, January, I get a new calendar, like everyone gets a new calendar, right? So I mark all like everything with like events, birthdays. So after all that is done, I take 2 sticky notes. Ideally, they're different colors. This year I've been using pink and yellow this year. That's fine if you don't want to color coordinate. Once these sticky notes that I'm talking about have been created, I put them in that monthly calendar section, okay? So the first sticky note, so there's 2 sticky notes, as I was saying. So the first sticky note has goals and what I want to experience that month. I label this goals. And in the second sticky note, I label it upcoming or next month. Let's just go with calling it next month for the sake of this. In that sticky note, I write what's coming up in the next month, hence the name next month. And so in December, I'm already planning for January, and in January, I know what's coming up in February. Again, so in December, I'm going to have 2 sticky notes. One is labeled goals, which has all the goals for the month of December and things I want to experience in the month of December. And then the second sticky note is called next month. And it's basically going to be saying what's coming up in the month of January. Maybe it's a birthday. Maybe it's a party I have to go to. Maybe there's something special happening. I'm going to place that still in the month of December in order for me to give me a reminder. So an example of the next month's sticky note can be, let's say, a friend's birthday, buy a present, or a winter lights and a party. So those are my bullet points, right? Friend's birthday, buy a present, winter lights, and party. And basically, this helps me remember that a friend's birthday is coming to buy them a present and wish them on that day. As for winter lights, sorry, it's not fairy lights. As for winter lights, is basically to find which one I want to go to, since there's like different types, from like drive-through winter lights and a regular like walking around in light mazes or villages, and then schedule who I want to go with and when I'll be going. As for the party, I want to basically prep for that, so the invites, people, food, decor, and etc. So this allows me a whole month to prep. I don't really write all these details down on that sticky note. As I mentioned before, I'm just writing those like keywords: friend's birthday, buy present, winter lights, and party. So those are like the keywords I write on that sticky note in order for me to remind me. Hopefully this made sense. This has helped me be more organized, and I just want to share it. Maybe it will help someone. Also, I review and update these sticky notes as needed. Ideally, this like updating happens when I'm planning for the next month. So let's go back to the yearly bucket list. So I'll take what I wrote in there and I'll add it to the sticky notes. For example, in June, I'll add 4th of July fireworks in the next month sticky note because it's coming next month. And then I'll flip over to July in my calendar, and in July's goal sticky note, I'll add the goal and experiences I want to have that month of July, and I'll add 4th of July fireworks. This way I'm reminded 2 times and I'm more likely to do it. But all this is just in writing, and until I schedule it in the calendar with the time and date, it's is just in the air, as I like to call it. Like, it's like floating in the air. So after researching and planning and coordinating, I'll schedule the plans of seeing the fireworks, and this is what I'll probably do. So I'll schedule in fireworks on Saturday at 9 p.m. at like a local lake, and usually I know where I'm going. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always, message me if you like. Please share it with someone that you think would benefit from this video, and until next time.